Welcome in this video, Zbcn coin. When is the giant rise? We will analyze this. Don't forget to subscribe, and please watch to the end to understand. The falling trend line, which we analyzed in detail in the previous video, and which we clearly showed in the chart, is still holding its influence on the market. I emphasize then, and we can see very clearly today, that the price has not fully recovered from the pressure of this falling trend line. Although it has been approaching the upper limit of this trend from time to time, it has not yet been able to break above this barrier in a strong and clear way. This shows us that the selling pressure should still not be underestimated, and that there has not been a complete change of power in the market. This downtrend is actually a very critical structure that represents the general negative mood in the market. Because as long as the price moves within this trend, the upside will remain limited, and any small recovery attempt will be suppressed by sellers. So, if the price is able to break this falling trend line to the upside, it will not only be a technical breakout, it will also be a clear indication that the perception, momentum, and psychological balance in the market has started to change completely. In the current outlook, the price still respects this falling trend line and continues to move below it. If the price is able to break and hold above this trend line with a strong wave of buying, then we can start talking about a very different market dynamic. This kind of breakout is usually volume-driven and initiates a fast, aggressive, and steady uptrend after the breakout. However, it is important to note that it is not enough to see only a short-term pin or a momentary overflow on such critical trend breakouts. For a true breakout to be confirmed, the price needs to close above the trend on a daily or weekly basis. Only then can we be sure that the market has really changed direction. This falling trend line is like a ceiling, constantly suppressing the price and preventing buyers from gaining strength. So, as soon as the price is able to break through this strong resistance, the long accumulated buying pressure may suddenly explode, and the price may move upwards very quickly. In fact, after such breakouts, many resistance levels that have been difficult to break in the past can be easily overcome, and the foundations of a new uptrend can be laid. To summarize, the falling trend line that we marked earlier on the chart is still one of the most important technical obstacles that determine the fate of the market. An upside breakout of this trend line by the price would open the door to a complete change in the market structure and the start of a long-awaited strong bullish rally. Therefore, it is necessary to follow the price's movements on this downtrend very carefully and patiently. But we need to look not only at the trends but also at other metrics. Stay tuned. Looking at the chart from a holistic perspective, it's clear that the horizontal support level just below the price action is critical for technical analysis. This level has been tested many times in the past, meaning that there have been many instances where buyers have dominated and strong buy orders have come into play to move the price upwards. Such levels are often characterized as accumulation zones that are highly followed by market participants. Especially at these levels, both short-term speculative traders and long-term traders come into play and try to determine the direction of the market. This support level is not only a graphical threshold, but also a psychological one. This is because the fact that certain levels become support in technical analysis is directly related to the fact that a large number of traders have opened positions at that level in the past. When the price comes back to this point, traders who have made profits or losses in the past tend to make similar moves again. This makes that level a strong center that can influence the overall trend of the market. Right now, the price is moving very close to this important support level. And as in the past, the chances of another upside reaction from this area are as strong as ever. This time, however, the test may be more important than the previous ones, because the more this area is tested, the more it wears out technically. In other words, the more pressure is placed on a support level, the more vulnerable it is to collapse at some point. Therefore, the price reaction when the price comes back to this level can be decisive not only for the short term, but also for the medium or even long-term trends. If the price bounces off this support once again, it would signal that the appetite for buying is still there. And this kind of reaction creates a positive psychological mood among investors, because a repeated reaction from the same support level reinforces the perception that the bottom has solidified. This creates a positive backdrop for the price to start its journey to test higher levels. In this scenario, the price could gain upward momentum, potentially even starting a rally that extends back to previous highs. On the other hand, if this time the price fails to react as strongly as in the past, when it hits this level and breaks this area to the downside, then things could change completely. Because as soon as the support is broken, the principle of support-resistance conversion, which is very common in technical analysis, comes into play. This means that the broken support now becomes resistance and the price can move away from it and head lower. In this case, a new downtrend is likely to begin. Price action, especially below this level, can create panic in the market and lead to increased selling pressure. Moreover, this zone is not only a horizontal support, but it may have been the intersection of several important technical indicators in the past. For example, when the RSI, Relative Strength Index, approaches this zone, it may often be entering oversold territory. Indicators that measure momentum, such as the MACD, may have received similar signals. Therefore, this support level should be considered not only price-based, but also as a critical threshold where indicators converge. The RSI, or Relative Strength Index, is one of the most frequently used oscillators for traders to anticipate shifts in market momentum. This powerful technical analysis tool not only shows us whether prices are hovering in overbought or oversold territory, but it also helps us understand the mood of the market by displaying certain trend patterns. Right now, the RSI chart is showing a technical pattern that is quite remarkable and strategically important. The RSI, which has been moving downwards for a long time, a falling trend structure, has finally signaled a serious breakout. This falling trend line has repeatedly resisted the RSI before, pulling it back down each time it touched it, and thus preventing the price from initiating a strong upward move. So this line is not just a technical boundary, but a reflection of market psychology. Buyers were getting squeezed every time the market tried to move up, but couldn't sustain the momentum and retreated again. Recent developments, however, suggest that this pressure is starting to break, signaling a shift in the market's energy. This time, the RSI managed to break above this trend line. This is important because such structural changes in momentum are considered as strong turning points that can guide price movements. However, there is one thing that is noteworthy and should not be ignored strategically. Even though the RSI has broken this downtrend to the upside, it has yet to perform a retest to test the reliability of this breakout. In technical analysis, a retracement after a breakout and a test of the broken level as support is an important step in confirming that the breakout has a solid structure. The realization of this test boosts investor confidence and sets the stage for a potential uptrend to proceed more steadily. The fact that the RSI has not made this critical retest at the moment shows us that we are going through a period of both opportunity and caution. If in the coming days the RSI returns to the falling trend line that it broke and bounces strongly, that is, if it starts moving up again, then we have both a strong technical confirmation and a potential rally signal for price action. Going further, this structural transformation in the RSI indicator could actually be a strong enough trigger to affect the downtrend structure that the price is currently in. Because as we've seen many times in the past, a trend break in the RSI is often a precursor to a similar break in price action. This technical similarity or alignment increases the accuracy of the analysis and generates stronger signals for traders looking to open positions. It's also important to remember that trend changes in the RSI are not just momentary price movements. They are also indicative of a profound transformation in traders' psychology. This breakout may indicate that the dominant sense of fear in the market is starting to give way to hope and anticipation, that buyers are willing to come back to the table, and that the price is preparing to recognize current levels as a bottom and move higher. If the price also breaks its own downtrend following the RSI, it would take this analysis to the next level. Especially if the price action synchronizes with the RSI in an upward direction, this will be noticed by a much wider cross-section of traders. This can lead to increased liquidity and volume in the market and faster and stronger price gains. Especially if there are positive developments in macroeconomic data or fundamental analysis during these breakout periods, then the potential jump of the price can reach much more impressive dimensions. RSI indicator should also be monitored. Yes, friends, I hope you liked the video. If you subscribe to my channel and like the video, more videos will be coming. Be careful in your investments, analyze the risks correctly, and always take strategic steps. I will be with you with different analyses, investment opportunities, and technical information in my videos. I wish you all a lot of profit. See you soon.